Hi, I'm Eric.
And Aurora,
This is the Family Retort.
we're cousins, and we'll have dinner table topics, bringing them to you.
Yes. Speaking of dinner table topics, it's been a minute, you know.
It has. I'm excited to get back on our regular schedule, and we're going to start with something not particularly controversial or political.
I think it's interesting, and we brought it up because I've been doing it myself. So, how much junk do you have in your house, Aurora?
Oh, oh God, I am absolutely drowning in junk. It is terrible. Well, my parents have downsized, so a lot of the stuff that I get
Oh
is
no.
hand-me-downs.
Yeah.
And then um, I come from a litany of parents that have shopping problems, which I have inherited. So, like, every time I'm sad, I just buy art supplies.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I feel you on that too. Well, we just decided in our household, and we've been doing this for about pretty much the start of the year, is going through all of our stuff and drastically downsizing by
nice.
donating, selling, not necessarily like a garage sale. We don't want to deal with that. But like, a few things we think we can get a few dollars for, we'll sell it on like Facebook Marketplace or eBay or whatever if it's worth the time and the effort.
Nice.
But I just one day was looking around and I was like, "Oh my God, this place is getting harder and harder to clean because the second you clean it up,
There's too much stuff.
it's just always cluttered. Even when it's clean, there's always stuff, you know?
Yeah. Our cousin Matt was like, you know what? There's so much stuff that like he'll just bring a trash can and everything that's out goes in the trash. Like he'll just take a garbage bag and throw everything away.
Well, I get that. There's some things where I'm just like, I don't
Well,
care,
to be fair, he has
toss.
many more kids than you just yet when he was talking about it, right? At
Oh, I
that
don't
point,
blame
I
him.
think they had just taken in three kids and then they had two of their own. So there was just quite a lot of kids, quite a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's so our rule for cleaning was if we haven't touched it in like 2 or 3 years, can we
Time to
donate
get
it
rid of
or
it.
get rid of it? And if it has some sentimental value, we can keep it, but do we have stuff related to that? So, one of the things is like, okay, well, I have stuff from my grandma. Well, I have tons of
Oh
stuff
yeah.
from my grandma. Do I need
Mm,
everything, or is there more, you know, like, how should I explain
concentrated,
this?
important,
Yeah, stuff that's
emotional.
more important than other things. And if there is, well, maybe we can get rid of the other stuff. Like, I don't need my grandma's napkins, right? What
The linens.
what's the point of that? Just get that rid of that. I have my grandma's pie like plates that are ceramic that we used to make pies for. Well, those are way more important than just some random napkin,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And
Did you
I
guys ever watch the Marie Kondo show?
Marie Kondo. No, what is that?
Oh, okay. So Marie Kondo has a Netflix show about cleaning, and her whole philosophy is the does it spark joy thing. And I listened to her book, and I do really like the idea of it. It's a little bit hard to follow through for me personally, but the idea is to only keep things that like spark joy or that are very useful for to you. And there's a Netflix show and she has an audiobook. And it was like
Um,
a huge rage a few years ago that everybody was talking about. So I was just wondering if
no.
you had heard of her.
Well,
Well, it's if you
here's
guys like to have something on in the background while you clean, it's worth checking out.
here's the thing though. I agree with that and I disagree with that because look at the hoarder. Have you ever watched Hoarders? That show,
Ye-
that TLC show that used to be on way back in
I
the
haven't
day.
watched it, but I have heard of it.
it's to those people, their stuff brings them joy regardless of what it is.
Yes, that's why I also read a book about like what to do if you're a hoarder.
Fair enough.
because because I personally think that like well it's just that like getting rid of stuff gives me anxiety. I think personally. Like I'm like, well, but what if I need this like
Well, that's
embroidery thread that I bought
oh, okay.
and
So
it's like,
here's what
you know,
we do in that kind of how we got out of that mental, I guess, pigeonhole. So I said, look, can we easily replace it? Is it something special, or is it just something we can go to the store or Amazon and
and
spend
get
$10? So, that
yeah,
ended up helping us, or specifically me, go, you know what? I don't need 13 different screwdrivers that are all the same size. I can get rid of most of them and maybe keep one in the garage and one inside. So I have one for like projects around the house and then one for projects in the garage,
those
right?
are good.
And
Yeah.
what if I can't find it? Oh God, I'm out $10 if I go to the store and go pick up another one just because I need a bit, right? Or
Yeah.
the right size. What's the big loss there? $10 maybe in 10 years or a year or two down the road if I can't find it or misplace it, you know. Same thing with like art supplies. We don't need, you know, 10-year-old acrylic paint that's probably dry or separated to the point where you'll never be usable again.
Very
Can
good
I
point.
can I easily get this at anywhere? Well, yeah. Do they make it all the time? Yeah. Is it reasonably cheap? Well, not really, but you know,
Acrylics are pretty cheap and I think the like does it expire is a great point. I think what's harder for me is clothing items. It's there are a lot of clothing items that the quality has deteriorated over years. Like this a t-shirt that I bought for 20 dollars 10 years ago is a lot better quality than a t-shirt that I would buy for $20 today.
yeah, that's fair.
But but I have decided that because I have so much anxiety about getting rid of stuff, I just need to like stop buying things just because. Like I have been trying to be very strict on myself because I don't know about you, but like sales really get to me.
Uh,
So,
Not so much sales, but here's what I've
well, like, do
noticed.
you get Steam game sales, right? Where like they're like, oh, like all these
Not not so
games for
much
$5, and you're
anymore.
like, but
Y-
you know the impulse, what I'm talking about,
yes.
right?
Yes.
And you're like, oh, it's $5, I can make it work, right?
So I
And
would
that stuff
say
always gets me. And so I'm trying not to let that stuff get to me anymore.
when I was single, I fell for that trap a lot. Um, the
Really?
other thing, well, yeah. Now
No,
it's
I know I need to know how it changed from being single to not being single, like how that
well,
changed your
so okay, here, oh man, this is gonna take a little bit. So, when I had a more disposable income, it was a lot
mm,
easier just to chuck money at things and just like, oh, this is fun. Maybe I'll play these games. I got like 1,000 games on Steam that I'll never play. I will probably never run it in my lifetime. Maybe when I retire. But, you know, they're just sitting there, essentially collecting dust that I wasted money on, even though they were on sale. I just looked up how much money I spent on Steam over, keep in mind, this is like 15 years. It's 10 grand.
oh, okay, so it's like about 1,000 a year, a little bit
That's
less in.
that's still ridiculous. That is way too
But
much.
that's like one of your main hobbies, right?
Used to, yes. I still play games, but it's not as often and it's a lot more selective these days. So right
Yeah.
now I'm playing a game with my friend. He just got a PS5 for Christmas. Kim just got her a PS5 just kind of on a whim, which is great. But so we're like, all right, which we were talking about which games, and then we landed on one that we really liked, and so we've been playing this together for a while now. But for me, I realized much after the fact that, buying stuff, you get a little dopamine hit, right?
It's
So
so hard.
I basically drained my account when I was depressed and be like, oh, I need more stuff. I need more things to help me fill the emptiness that was my life. I hate to be dramatic, but
Well, so that's my problem with getting rid of stuff is that like there are days where I have good days where I'm like, oh, I can go out, I can wear my cute outfits and I can cosplay with my friends and I could wear makeup. But 99% of the time, I'm too sick to do that. I'm just wearing pajamas. So I'm like, okay, should I just get rid of all the things that bring me joy? Or should I keep them because those are the things that I like? Or should I only keep the things that I wear, which are pajamas?
okay.
That's where
So
I get in like weird quagmires
no,
about
it's fine. I
cleaning.
get it because I have a lot of like band shirts and things that I've had for a very long time.
See,
And
those are things where like your mom could turn those into a quilt.
well, she actually did turn some of my shirts into a quilt. But beside the fact, what I did to help me downsize, and this might help some of our listeners, this might help you, is I prioritize things. So I went, all right, when was the last time I wore this? Is there any kind of sentimental value to it? And then is it beaten up to the point where it's not practical?
That's a good one.
So, and then once I did that, I went, all right, so this is all my clothes. Which is my favorite, and which do I just kind of like wear because it's there, if that makes sense? It's there,
Yeah.
so I'll wear it. And then I took that, like that kind of lukewarm feeling, which is still like, oh, I like all these shirts, but I don't go out of my way to find them, right?
Right.
Because I know, everybody has wardrobe, everybody wears it differently, but there's certain things you seek out, right? Like, oh, hey, I'm going to be at a concert today. I'm going to go wear one of my concert shirts. Okay, I have this to choose from, this, and this, right?
hmm
Well, there's a few shirts that just I never like went and looked for them. Or a few, well, pants are a little different. I wear all my pants all the time, and I just got rid of the rattiest, disgusting ones. So it's whatever.
What kind of stuff do you find that like you have accumulated the most of that you ended up getting rid of the most?
Um, like just in general, or from
Well,
like
because
my
like you guys are
wardrobe.
doing, well, you guys are doing your deep clean, right? So everybody else has like their different weaknesses of things they accumulate and things that just like, because I also have like a bunch of purse junk, right? I'm
Oh
always
God,
accumulating
yeah.
purse junk. So I was curious about what kind of junk you guys accumulate that you just don't know what to do with.
So we got rid of a lot of clothes and kind of using, well, at least for me, that's how I went through all my stuff. Like old military stuff that didn't fit me, um, multiples of the same thing. So I have like a bunch of nice shirts, and I went, all right, I only need like one or two because I rarely ever wear these. Let's get rid of them. Jackets. Well, I
I have
kept
so
all
many
my
jackets.
all my fun jackets because I live in California. It's we don't really have like cold
Weather.
weather. It's just like a pullover or a sweatshirt. That's it. I don't need super thick stuff. So I kept one decent sweatshirt, one winter coat, or something I can wear when it's really, really cold. And then I kept all my fun jackets and sweaters that I can just, rotate through that I've actively seeked. And any of that kind of like, well, I'm wearing it because it's clean and there, you know?
So
All
you
that
got rid of
stuff
your
I got
lightness
rid
stuff.
of. Yep.
Nice.
That's kind of how I determine that. And I
So you
have
guys
this,
did end up getting rid of a lot of clothes. You did accumulate a lot of clothes.
yeah.
I thought
My
it was just like a me personal problem. I somehow thought you guys like were better about it than I was.
No, we were pretty bad about it. And then Kim, she just got rid of all the stuff that didn't really fit her, or she wasn't really into, or just basically the same kind of thing I did. And then,
Yeah,
baby clothes, we're starting to phase out kids' clothes, and that's all a process in and of itself.
his clothes is hard. What I really liked about our family is that I got to get hand me down from cousins, and we would just like kind of rotate them all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when we were too big for something, you could just turn them into the next person. Like I remember getting hand me downs from like Morgan and Brittany or whatever, and to
Oh,
everybody else, and then getting to give hand me downs away.
so I got a funny story related to clothes and our family.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is going to get me in trouble, but it's whatever. So I used to
Well,
hate.
hopefully nobody listens to our podcast.
Nah, we don't have to worry about that. For a long time, I used to hate wearing jeans
Oh,
because I associated jeans with our family. And I thought
really?
our family, like, I'm generalizing, we're all kind of like country bumpkins, which honestly, some are kind of like that. Yes, it's more than just that, but
So like you associated it with like
with
a
like
very
redneck,
specific type.
yeah, with like
Okay.
rednecks. So I never wanted to wear it because I thought it would be like, I came from Rochester. It's a fairly big city. It's medium size. I would say it's medium size, but I kind of associated that until I got older and I started wearing them. And I'm like, oh, they're really comfortable. I kind of like these. And then I just basically swapped everything out with jeans.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Because I didn't like jeans for sensory reasons, but I actually loved getting hand-me-downs because I was one of those kids who is very sensitive to like tags and scratchy clothes. But when clothes are worn in and they're hand-me-downs, they're like already made soft by somebody else.
Yeah,
So I
they're
actually
worn.
I loved getting hand-me-downs for that reason because I don't like scratchy clothes. So, and I'm still sensitive to things for that reason. Like some of my favorite clothes are hand-me-downs.
That's
Like
funny.
my shirt that I wore, I basically wore it. It's a it's a plaid shirt that somebody's dad was getting rid of, like in college, and I wore it basically every single time I left the house because it's like soft. And my mom absolutely hates it. She thinks it looks like pajamas, but it's the perfect thing to wear in Seattle because Seattle is so anti-formal that like if I wear an outfit, I'll put the flannel up so it doesn't look so I'll look more casual, so I like fit in better in Seattle, but it's
That's
like
too funny.
warm and it's cozy and I love it. And I finally looked at it. It's Uniqlo made like it was a Uniqlo shirt and I've been wearing it every day for like 10 years.
That's hilarious.
And
No,
it's a hand-me-down shirt. I wonder how old this shirt is. Like
it's yeah, because it's funny because I haven't really changed my style since high school. I know that's heresy and things change, but I've always liked band shirts, black shirts. It's nice because I'm a little messy, so I don't have to worry about what whites getting stained or anything gross.
oh, I'm also terrible with whites. I'm very klutzy. Like
So
um all of my clothes have paint on them.
black just makes sense.
I don't even have paint anymore. They just still have paint or bleach on them.
It- It's okay. I have from my projects, I have like 3 or 4 shirts that are just dedicated to. All right, I'm gonna do painting in the house, or I'm gonna work on the car. They're gonna get gross. So
Yeah. So you do you have like house things that accumulate or random junk that you feel like accumulates? Like
so
now that
much
you have kids,
random
do you feel
shit.
like you get
Yes, so much random shit. So we had like tons of decorations and all this other kinds of stuff. We didn't get rid of that. So I said, hey, let's put it in a box. We have a storage unit literally right down the street. Let's go put that in our storage unit so we can rotate through, um,
for your holiday decorations?
yeah, holiday decorations. And there's like, I have a really bad habit of like collecting things. Like, I like my watch collection. I like my knife collection. I like my Warhammer stuff. I like my car stuff. I have too many hobbies that are all stupid expensive and I don't have the funds to fund them.
We both have ADHD, so like I think this is something we have in common, which is like our hobbies that cost money that we rotate through.
But yeah, so in doing that, like you get all the stuff for the hobby, and then you rotate to the next one for a little bit, and then you rotate to the next one for a little bit, and then all that stuff has like, oh, this little thing for this little thing for this, and then it all accumulates, and it's just
Yeah,
a pain in the ass, and that's kind of where I'm over it. If
time to
we
get rid
had
of them.
Yeah, if we had a bigger house, it's fine. It'd be fine. It would be like, whatever, we'll just put that in a box, and when I get to it again, I'll get to it again. But again, I went back to the, well, can I easily replace this? Yes? All right. Poof, whatever. Get rid of it.
What gets me is that there's so much little like plastic junk that I feel bad throwing away, but it's like all promotional junk. Like, I go to a parade and they give me like a little vial of bubbles, or like I go to a movie and then they give me some sort of like like card of
Oh,
like
here's a
the thingy of
special
the
collector's edition that you don't need. That's
like
just gonna clutter.
all this weird collector junk, and I wonder why we have so much of that, and I think that that's personally why, like, if you think about it, both sci-fi and fantasy have like way much less of that kind of clutter in it, if you think about it.
Kind of. I think, we're at the point where we're a very materialistic society. And unfortunately, it's like I make money to get the stuff. Well, now I can't afford the stuff. I got to go back to work to make more money to get the stuff, you
Well,
know?
I think it's true that it's this our society has become so consumer debt based that if we were to stop shopping, like our whole economy might collapse. So that's why like we I mean, like, we literally undid COVID mitigations and ruined people's health during the pandemic because we were so scared people would stop buying things. But people did buy things. They just bought them online. Everything was fine. They didn't need
Yeah.
to freak out that much.
Well,
Um,
here's the thing. We're kind of in the middle of a like hyperinflation almost. We're getting to that point. And I feel like we just need to stop getting things. I know it's easier said than done, but you don't like,
well, here's the thing is we all of our objects are built now with planned obsolescence into it, and
oh
that
God,
makes
yeah,
it
it's so
very
bad.
difficult to choose things that will last because I think now when you're younger you don't think about it, but once you hit a certain age, like we're both now 30. Well, you're a little older than me, but like we're in our 30s, and now that we're 30, we're like, I don't want to keep buying new shit. I just want my one thing to just last me and it be good. And now you can't find anything that lasts. Even brands that were supposed to be good that lasted a long time
You
aren't
know,
built to be made
it's
like that
it's funny
sometimes.
because over the holidays, I was talking to my parents and they were telling me that their um, microwave broke. Do you know how old that microwave was?
It's 40 years old, isn't it?
Pretty damn close.
Because I remember their old washing machine and dryer when I visited their place, and it was like still working 30 years
Yep,
later, and I was like, nice.
it is.
No.
And now you
And now
can't,
microwaves only last 5 years tops.
if you're lucky, yeah.
My I had a friend who like stayed with me for a little bit, and like my microwave log was a little bit, so they wanted to replace it. And I was like, no, if you buy a microwave now, it's gonna break in a year. This microwave at least is like 10, 15 years old. It's gonna last for a lot while longer. Like you can't buy anything new now.
I told them as a joke they should get one that's 5 to 10 years old, and then it'll last another 30 years or another 20 years, so they don't have to buy a new one and it'll be less expensive. And they're just like, no, we're just getting a new one. And I just thought it was kind of funny.
That is funny. I agree with you.
just just buy one from the 90s and you'll be set, or I guess early 2000s now. Before,
No,
yeah.
now an appliance, it's old if it's 5 years old, basically.
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
like a household appliance. When I was a kid, people were like, "It's a brand new appliance. It's 5 years old."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about. Like refrigerators.
Yeah,
Well, back in the day too, they were so expensive. You had to get them fixed, right?
yeah.
And that was a whole industry. Was like the TV repairman. Now what do we do? Oh, it broke. Oh, just get a new one.
Well, and so apparently I was talking with some sort of building manager about like, oh, why can't I get the nice stove that doesn't have these weird electrical coils? Why can't I get the glass stove top? And they're like, no, they're like legally required to like replace them completely every new tenant or every
Oh my
5 years or
gosh,
so.
really?
Yeah,
I
so
hate the glass ones. My parents had a glass one for a little bit, and it was horrible. You spilled something on the glass one, it's almost it's broken at that point.
oh, I didn't know that. I have the
Yeah,
like
no, they're really
electrical
bad.
one with the coils, and those are very hard to clean and replug in, and they're always super janky. So I hate those too. I know gas stoves are very terrible and like a huge safety hazard, but like I still kind of prefer them. But I understand that like safety wise they're not good for people like you can like get
Gas.
CO2 poisoning and all that stuff. But
Gas is the best.
it just
Honestly, out correction. Induction is the best, actually.
okay. Yeah. Okay. But but hearing that they're like really legally required to basically just like replace things every
Yeah,
so
it's pretty
many years
crazy.
means that things aren't built to last anymore. And so you can't even buy anything that's good quality anymore, which
No.
means we're legally obligated to keep
Well,
buying things and throwing things away.
here's something. Here's something kind of interesting too. I actually just saw this. I know this is kind of taking a crazy, weird left turn, but we don't really have a purpose. We're kind of just chatting today, so deal with it. Um, I've been seeing how EV cars are kind of hitting this wall where the resale value is horrible. You have to switch out the batteries. It's going to cost you $20,000,
Oof.
you know? And yeah, that might be the same as like a new engine, but you can get used engines for a couple $1,000s, right?
Well, there's a lot to be said about like if we want to be more environmentally friendly, like switching one type of car for another kind of car isn't going to be the answer because
No, it's
the
not.
environmental impact of creating a electric car is not that much better than what we already have for gas cars. What we need to have is like more walkable infrastructure, more bike lanes, more public transit because, you know, like I know that you like your car and
Oh
you know
yeah.
what? If you like your car, you can enjoy your car, but I think requiring to use a car for little trips to the store and to walk your kids to school and to, go to work like a commute. Like most people have to drive for the commute, and that's what takes all of the gas and that causes traffic when transportation can do so much more for that. And so if we need to like be doing better on other infrastructure if we want to actually like make the climate crisis better and like just
Um,
replacing gas cars with electric cars are not going to solve the problem.
yeah, there's more to it than just that, but it's just kind of interesting how there's how should I explain this? It was I don't want to say a fad, but the hype is over, if that makes sense.
I think the hype is over. I think there was also like there a lot of it how was attached partially to Elon, and I heard that he had like this female publicist who managed his image, and she asked for a raise, and he decided to fire her. And immediately after, he tanked his image, and then a lot of what made Tesla and those kind of cars cool, all of that stuff, kind of just like lost its luster because nobody was doing the PR work necessary to keep that up. So I feel like that goes to show how much public relations and like hype is a like advertisement construct. It's being advertised to us. All
Um,
all the greenwashing is
I
advertised to us.
I hate to say it, but Tesla is like the number one car um, seller in the U.S. Or it's
Really?
like really high up there on the statistics. Yeah, like
It's still
year after
selling a lot?
year, they're still selling a ton.
Oh,
Tesla.
wow.
I'm gonna look it up really quick, but it's they're still very popular. But here's the issue: if you want to go get an electric car, what's the first company you think of?
Tesla.
Exactly. They basically cornered the market, and yes, there's other options out there now, but when somebody
Well,
says
there used to be the
electric,
Prius, I think, right? Which
well,
is
that
like
was the
it's a
hybrid.
hybrid.
That was a hybrid, yeah, different. And I think hybrids are the way to go because you can use gas. You're not trapped like in Chicago where people are having to charge their cars and it won't charge because it's too cold.
I agree. We were in during COVID, we we were stuck with COVID and we wanted to drive back because we didn't want to risk, you know, flying when the pandemic was happening. We didn't know what was going on, so we drove back and Greg drove his Tesla. My stepdad drove his Tesla, and every 2 hours we had to stop and charge for 2 hours. And basically, as soon as we got back, my stepdad sold the car because it was such a miserable drive. Because he was able to drive in a gas car in 18 hours, and it took us 3 days to get home. And it was just such a miserable experience. And also, the seats are cardboard and so painful that I like was crying. I didn't want to sit in them.
Yeah, they're not. I I'm not a huge fan of them. They're cheaply made. They're not really the price that they put forth, and on some of them, the difference between the high end Tesla, I think Model Y, and the plaid version of it. There's no hardware. It's all software. So you're paying like 10, $20,000 more for what's essentially an operating system
Well,
or an
and the problem
upgraded operating system.
is that the cars made in California made to California specs, so it doesn't work in the snow, in the cold, even in like more desert environments like extreme heat. Like it only works in like a mild climate. It doesn't work in other places. You know, it's a very location specific car, I feel.
Yeah.
So, back to consumerism. I feel like part of it is just that there's no quality control either. I feel like part of it is there's a culture of endless consumption, and part of that's like, oh, we have to hold ourselves responsible for what we buy,
hmm
and we have to like constantly stay on top of stuff. But I also think that there's like, we no longer have any quality control on things anymore,
Well,
especially with like,
here's the thing, right? Let's say you have, well, what would be a good example? A pen, right? You're a pen manufacturer. Ballpoint pen, nothing special. Well, maybe every 1 out of 10 pens are garbage and you have to throw them away because something in the manufacturing process doesn't work. Okay, quality control, we'll take them all out, we'll do it. That costs money, right? So
yeah,
now my pen, it's a good quality pen. It's just ballpoint pen, nothing special, right? It's maybe $7 a pack. Well, this other guy, he doesn't give a shit about quality. He just starts cranking them out and undercuts me to bring the pens at, let's say, $3 a pack for the same amount and they look the same, basically the same, but there's maybe one or two pens out of there that are garbage.
But you're going to be paying the same amount per pen that works.
Just
It just
about.
looks cheaper to us.
Yes. But in your mindset, you're going to go, oh, these two pens packages are basically identical, but this one's a few bucks cheaper, not knowing that there's a quality issue in them. Sure, you might open it up and go, this pen sucks, and then toss it and then get the next one. You're not going to think anything of it, but you've already purchased it.
Right. And that's the problem is like if I had known that there was less quality control with the other one, once I realized that there's going to be problems with that, I'm not going to buy that brand anymore. But nowadays, especially with things like Amazon that doesn't regulate their marketplace and Walmart starting to open up their marketplace to whatever, you don't have any consistency with branding or anything like that. It's just like with the internet, there's no accountability or transparency or consistency in
Um,
branding.
yeah, there is a little bit, but you're right. There really isn't. There's a
There,
lot of things. Well, like Costco does this, right? Where they'll go to name brand places and say, we want to put your brand on our things, but under our name. And they said, fine, but you can't say where you got it from. You can't say, pretty much anything about it. It's just branded as your own. And that's how they sell them for cheaper,
right.
which I thought was kind of interesting too.
I like Costco has like I feel like Costco is a pretty good business model and they have a good quality control and all that stuff. So major respect to Costco.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know you guys shop there a lot, so maybe it's
Yeah.
different. Because
No,
I'm at home, I end up buying a lot of things from Amazon because I
I
can't
do too.
it's 3 miles to walk around in a Costco. I can't walk that far anymore, even if I could actually get to the Costco.
No, most of my stuff I get from online these days because either I'm going to, like, I want something very specific, or
It's actually very hard to find specific things anymore.
well, yeah,
You have to go online to get specialty things.
you
Yeah.
can't just like peruse, I feel. But where else am I going to get, like, I'm looking at my Amazon just for uh, comparison. Where am I going to get what is this? Okay, this is a 6 USB uh, power strip with 23 plugins
That's pretty nice.
with USB charging ports. So you can just plug a USB right into the power strip.
Is that not regular?
Not that big. No. It's for all my TV stuff.
Ah,
So, I mean, the power draw isn't ridiculously huge on a lot of stuff, and not everything is on all the time. But I need, instead of putting one, two, three, or daisy chaining power strips, which is electrical hazard, I just get one giant, massive one with all the plugins I need that is, rated for that kind of stuff.
well, so my point was that for Amazon, even if you had an item you liked, I can't rebuy an item from a brand. Like, if I bought something on Amazon and I liked it a few years later, I can't go back and rebuy that item. It's gone, gone.
Off
And
Amazon?
yeah, that item is unlisted a lot of the time.
You
And
could.
even if it still exists, sometimes it's replaced by a completely different product that's like, if let's say I bought a 100% cotton t-shirt, I can go back and it'll say it's the same product, but then it's like 50% polyester, 50% cotton now, 5 years later. So there isn't any quality control or consistency. It could still be listed under the same product. They can change the shape, they can change the thing, and it's still listed under the same thing now. it does that on Amazon, and a lot of brands do the same thing where there's low end designer and high end designers, right? You don't know, but upcoming designers, they make a really good quality product, and then once they expand, like Reformation is this clothing brand that used to be branded as very eco-friendly and all this other stuff, but as they've expanded, their quality has gone down and they've become less and less eco-friendly, even though they were originally supposed to be like a high quality eco-friendly brand.
Hmm.
And so people buy them, and other brands like Aritzia or whatever, which are expensive. They're expensive. They're not like, I don't know, crazy designer Prada expensive, but they're like, it's like almost $200 for a pair of pants from Aritzia or Reformation. So they're
Jeez.
expensive. And but that's almost how much pants cost these days, I think. You
What?
know,
Not my pants.
how much do your pants cost?
Well, shit, I get mine from Ross. As long as they fit, I don't care.
Oh, see, you're a boy. Pants fit you. I have to buy like, I have a hard time finding pants, so I guess I wear like $20, $30 pajama pants on Amazon and like $30 compression leggings from Amazon, and that's what I buy. If I want
All right.
actual real pants, that's something else.
All right. Well, okay, hold on. So I do go to 511 for a lot of stuff, a lot of shirts and whatnot when I need, decent. I wouldn't say like quite dress up shirts, but they're collared shirts, so they look decent. Good quality, and I like their pants there, and that usually runs me like 75 to like $100 per a pair of pants,
Okay, yeah, that's like a decent. That's how much pants
and they
would
last
cost me at a real
forever
store.
too. So,
How long do your clothes last you in general?
well, I've
I'm
been wearing a lot of
curious.
my stuff from high school, so 15,
Okay, so like,
16, 17 years plus.
okay, because I feel like some of the clothes that I bought, they last. Well, a lot of stuff peels after one wash if I buy it on Amazon. And some stuff will last
Okay,
like 2 to 3 years
yeah.
and start having holes in it.
If something like falls apart, I'll toss it. I actually had to toss a few of my beloved shirts because they were from a well, it was a knockoff. It wasn't actually from the concert, but it started peeling and getting gross. And I don't mind like a little bit of damage over time, especially when it comes to like band shirts or concert
Yeah, they look
shirts.
worn in.
Yeah, it's just like, oh shit, you've had that forever. Awesome. Good for you. But this was like the whole picture was just like gone and it was just like flaking off. It was so gross.
Oh, I hate when that happens.
Yeah, it's just like
There's different,
it's toast.
it's tragic.
So,
Anyways, I think that that's something I think about a lot now is like, how do I find good quality stuff? And especially online. And how do I ascertain whether something's going to be good quality or not? How do I know if a brand is like staying, whatever? Like, I've made a resolution to like never buy from certain stores again
well,
because,
that's understandable. And I definitely agree with that. There's like a few places that I'll go to. Like if I need a pair of pants, I'll go to Ross, but I'll look for jeans. I guess that's not the best example, but I'm not going to get shirts or any kind of other stuff there because I know it's not probably very good.
interesting.
But if I'm like, oh, I want to get a nice pair of pants, I'll go to 511.
Okay.
Or I need something nice. All right, I'll go to 511.
I mean, we've
Good
also talked
quality.
about like how people trade out their cars just to stay in debt for their loans and stuff like that.
Oh
But
God, it's oh man, don't even get me started with that. So
well,
there's
my mom's
this.
car is almost 15 years old now, and it's really starting to like right now the radio's starting to go and the backup camera is giving her problems.
What
And the
is the
problem is
car?
that
What is the car though? That's important.
her car's an Audi.
Do you know what model, which variant, anything like that?
It's like the very long kind. It's very long, it's very low.
You're such a non-car person. It's a car. It goes vroom and it has four wheels.
Yes, but it's like
Oh,
it's not an SUV. It's like a normal car, but it's like 15 years old now almost. And she likes her car because the seats are comfortable and they're long for her legs. And also the new car smell made me nauseous and it only stopped doing that after like 8 years.
you could put like scents in there and make it smell better. But
No, it's like whatever they had that cleaned that, whatever tannings they had for the leather seats, like it was just such a strong chemical smell that it made me nauseous.
is it like an
Anyways,
i8?
I
No, I doubt
I
that.
do
I doubt
not
it's an
know.
i8.
It was nice. It was pricey when they bought it. It
Yeah,
costs a fair
Audis
amount to upkeep. She's
Audis are
decided to
decent.
keep it for as long. Yeah,
Um,
but
but
she's kept it for quite a long time, and
oh
it's
yeah, I mean, as long as you do your maintenance and you can fix anything in a car, really, as long as you keep on top of these things, you can almost keep
well.
them
Here's what's the thing:
indefinitely.
is it's almost like a lot of the software, like the technology stuff, is giving out before any of like the mechanical stuff is almost easier to fix
Oh,
than the
100%.
software stuff.
Yeah.
Which is why you should be wary about buying any appliances with smart devices in them.
No,
I feel
it's
like that's gonna make them last way shorter.
well, yeah. Didn't Apple get in trouble for planned obsolescence in their iPhones when the new one came out?
I think so.
I know there was a whole big thing where they're getting sued for that.
I think that's what I like about Europe is like they try to have some regulation on that where they can't they're making a regulation where you have to have like the power cord for like USB-C or something like that, where they all have to be able to be like universal power cord. Even and they update it every once in a while, but that way you don't need to have like 40 different power cords. And where Apple like specifically changes their power cords, so you have to buy a new plug and a new phone and a new this and a new that. I'm still kind of mad they got rid of the headphone jack. And
Yeah,
that
that
was
is
like
pretty
10 years
stupid.
ago.
So here we
I'm
go.
so
Apple did, and they had to pay $50 million settlement in a long running class action lawsuit claims over deliberate slowdown of older phone models.
well, so if we were to have better regulation on that, how long do you think we should make things be regulated to have to last?
I so here's the thing. If they plan for it, like deliberately go out of their way to do that, yeah, that's pretty bad. If they just
Well,
do it on their own and it's just like, oh, it's just old so it's not as fast. Well, yeah, that just happens with computers. You put a bunch of junk on it, it just slows down over time. But
so
if they're
well,
deliberately writing stuff in the code, that's kind of malicious.
so here's the thing is do you think that companies should would you prefer we have it regulated so you cannot make it planned obsolescence like shorter than 10 years? Or do you think that companies should have to be legally required to advertise how long they've made that product last? Like, if there was any planned obsolescence, they'd be like, this fan lasts for 3 months. If we got a choice, which one do you think would be better?
I I don't know, honestly. I hate to like have the government and go, "Oh, you can't do this," and blah blah blah. But
Well, what is the alternative? Because the alternative is we're paying so much extra, and these companies have no accountability because they
no,
all get to screw us
here's
over.
here's the alternative: suing the company, which is what happened. So good for them, by the way.
Did anything change?
Yeah, actually, I think they did. And if they do it again, it's even more money.
Well, because I mean,
Money talks. Money talks more than
suing the
regulation, honestly.
company is still getting the government involved to some degree. But I do see where
No,
you're like, well, it's different than regulation. I do see
it's
what you're saying,
it's
but
like
it is,
me versus them. The
but
government
it's
comes
still,
in as a mediator and says yes or no, and here is the damages you're going to have to pay. Sure, but it's not like, oh, this is a new law.
I see. So you don't like when the government makes laws, but you're fine with the government being the mediator for suing people.
Yeah, that's fine.
So when the companies are, so is the solution for us to just never buy from any new or unknown company so that we know that we could sue them if they planned obsolescence? How do
I
you prove planned obsolescence? Like, how do you buy stuff? How do you find stuff that isn't just junk, right? Like you specifically say, oh, well, I don't buy anything from Ross because I know most of that's just junk, right?
well, okay, as a consumer, you need to be informed of, products and something, whether that's maybe going on YouTube, looking up reviews, like honest reviews. There's plenty of companies out there that will, Consumer Report's a good one where, they'll go through and review a lot of technology. There's plenty of things online resources that you can use. And yeah, it sucks having to go look for that kind of stuff, but I have a set dollar amount. If anything is above that dollar amount, I should know everything about that, what the reviews are. So if there's like, this is going to be an issue, I understand that me going in there, it's going to happen or potentially could happen, if that makes sense.
How much do you think a normal person should be researching everything they buy?
Well, maybe not everything, but over a certain dollar amount that's comfortable for you. So
What's your dollar amount?
mine's like $400. If I'm spending more than $400 on something, whether it's a piece of technology, whether it's a chair, whether it's a couch, I tend to look into it. I understand what it is. And, like I bought some Ashley furniture chairs and couch. Are they the best things ever? No. Are they comfortable? Yeah. Will I get use out of them? Sure. Are they the best sofa and chairs out there ever? No.
But they work well enough for the price that
Yeah,
you got and you
they were
researched it.
great for the price I worked, and that's what you got to do. You got to make a like cost assessment and then proceed accordingly. So, what is your and I feel like a lot of people don't do this. So, an example, well, let's say I need a new purse or handbag for Kim or my wife or your girlfriend, whatever. Okay. Well, what does she use it for? What does she need it for? Do you go out? Are you fancy? What are you doing there? The first thing you shouldn't do, and this is just in my world, is go to a Louis Vuitton store or a Gucci because it makes no goddamn sense to me personally spending that much on a purse because the quality is the same as a lot of other purses, but the price does not match the quality.
Not for Louis Vuitton. A lot of Louis Vuitton stuff is plastic over canvas. So,
Yeah, and you're just paying for the name. I could give a shit less what is on that purse. Or, well, by extension, the wife, too. She could care less. She doesn't even use handbags, but you get what I'm saying, right?
right. Well, I'm personally very rough on my bags, so but I like looking secondhand. And I found that I like stuff better when it's like leather lined because it's easier to wipe out. Like if it's got cotton inside of it, it's always going to get grubby and gross. So, there's different choices and you have to make like lifestyle decisions based on that. But
Well, okay, so I'll rephrase it to something that I did. So I'm really hard on my wallets, right?
mm,
I always
Did
carry
you
my
get like a
wallet.
leather wallet?
I'm
Or
getting there.
do you okay.
So I'm really hard on wallets, even the leather ones, because they just fell apart or they just got worn, and I could never last more than 2 to 3 years with my wallets.
Yeah, what do you do to them?
I don't know. I just take them. I guess I just kind of like chuck them around to put them on stuff, but they just wear out in my pocket. Just take them in and out, in and out. It's just over time they just wear down. I mean, 5 years is a pretty decent amount, but like the cheaper ones, they didn't last as long. So I went, all right, let's start with a leather wallet because the last leather wallet I had lasted longer than anything else I've had. All right, well, what's the strongest leather? Oddly enough, I
Oh.
came to elephant leather. So I
Oh.
did some research. I found a company that makes accessories out of different various forms of leather, all ethically obtained. And sure enough, there was my wallet. Bought it, and it's lasted me for, oh gosh, I want to say 11 or 12 years now.
Oh,
It,
nice.
it
Okay.
is
That's really
incredibly worn
interesting.
in. And yeah, granted, I might have spent, oh gosh, how much are they? I don't know what the prices are, but I maybe spent like $150 at the time, which is astronomical for a wallet. But I
I feel like
haven't.
that's about amount of like a normalish amount for like a leather wallet. It's like on the pricier but good quality side for a
Well,
wallet that you're going to use every day for the rest of your life.
it's kind of obscure too. You're not going to find elephant leather. There's other stuff they had like eel, snake, all
Is
kinds
this
of
like a
crazy stuff.
small independent brand too?
Yeah,
Like
I would say
more
it's
artisanal?
it's smaller. They're kind of a small shop, but they have an online store.
Oh, nice. That's so cool.
Yeah, and I even got one for Kim because hers was just she doesn't use like a purse or anything, right? She uses kind of like a big folding wallet.
Ah,
Nothing crazy. It's like the size of a card, but it's bigger.
yeah.
So I ended up replacing hers, and same thing. Hers is working great and hasn't fallen apart.
That's so cool. I My thing that I'm very hard on is charger cords for the iPhone. Mine, I feel like I will wear through a wire in 3 months, and I don't know what I do wrong.
They're just some crappy ones.
Well, no, I specifically get ones that like charge to the side because I know I rest my phone charging on me, so I have one that like goes to the side so that it doesn't like need to bend or anything. And I try to buy like decent quality ones, but like I I'm buying the magnetic ones now, and those last me a little bit longer, but I just wear through those so fast. Doesn't matter the quality, even if it's the actual official Apple one. I wear through that one so fast. It's insane. I don't know what I do. So I like well, I think it's because I lay in bed and I'm just on my phone charging it. So I don't think you're supposed to be using your phone while it's connected to the charger like that.
Well, you can. It's not that big of a deal. But uh, what you can do is, do you have any electrical tape?
I could get some.
Does it usually break right below the point where you plug in? You know what I'm talking about, right?
It does break around there, but it kind of starts getting like finicky before that.
What you can
So I
do,
start having to like bend it around to make it charge.
yeah, you do the engineering thing where you have to like loop it around and have it like at a certain angle. What you can do
Yeah,
is wrap electrical tape around it a few times, like a few tapes, and it'll strengthen the cord so it won't bend as much.
like before it even starts to break.
Yeah, do that if you get a new cord. Just do that right off the bat, and it'll last longer.
I'll try to do that then.
Sounds weird, I
Yeah.
know, but
No, no, it makes sense. I don't know what I do because I have a friend who's like, yeah, I've bought these like Nike things and they lasted me 5 years. And like mine lasted me, I don't know why they stopped working, but they lasted me like 1 year. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but it's definitely something. Uh, there's definitely like a very specific sweet spot of like in between in between things of of like spending just enough for it to be good quality, but not too much where it's just if it's ruined, you're like upset. I don't know how to explain that.
no, I get what you're saying.
But everybody has their different mitigation, their different understanding of what that sweet spot is depending on their lifestyle. But it is very hard to, I feel like, know what good quality things are these days without doing a ton of research. Like
I mean,
for clothing,
you don't need a ton of research. You just need to do a little bit, right? And
well,
skip over all the sponsored bullshit first. If you go into Google and you type in something and you see sponsored, toss it out. Go to the stuff underneath there from actual like reviewable places, if that makes sense.
I, yes, but I mean, it's, I think it's complicated because I think my favorite for like buying clothes was the Conscious Closet, and it kind of talks about like how to find good materials and how to sort through quality and stuff like that. And I thought that that one was a really good one. But it's like t-shirts today, if you want a t-shirt today that's not see-through, you have to buy what is now called a heavyweight t-shirt that's 6 ounces, and that's used to be a normal t-shirt 20 years ago. And now you have to like specifically look for that.
Got it.
And now you have to like specifically look for it to be 100% cotton instead of like 50% polyester if you want it. And if something is 50% polyester, it's gonna pill. If you want things to like stretch but still last, you need to make sure it has less than 3% elastic. Those are all these kinds of things that you have to like learn about if you just want your clothes to not fall apart. That's a lot of work. How,
Yeah, it
like,
sounds kind of like a pain in the ass.
and so and that's not even just like for online shopping, that's for shopping in general because these clothes in stores, they do the same thing. It's just that when you're in the store you can already see the clothes are starting to pill in on the rack and you're like, oh, I'm not going to buy that. But online they can hide it, so it's sketchier.
True. All right. So, what do you have, people, for your final thoughts for this week?
Okay, on consumerism, my final thought is that we have to be like way more conscious about what we buy because getting rid of stuff is very hard. And you were talking about your process for getting rid of stuff and your
Mm-hmm.
process for buying stuff.
Yep.
And and that anything you should be doing basic research on what you buy, and you don't believe that government regulation would like you don't believe in government regulation for it, so it's like you think it should be on the consumer to do the research for that.
Yeah, I think the consumer, if you're going to spend money, you should know what you're buying before you get it. At least a certain dollar amount. Look, if you want to,
I'm just tired of all my $20 purchases falling apart.
well, depending on what they are, you got to understand that. Well, maybe because it's $20, it's not going to be the best. I've come to accept that. It's kind of just the way it is. If you want something higher quality, you know, you got to be informed. And
That's true.
sure, there is probably many purchases that I've made that are the $20 or less that are complete utter trash. And there's some $20 purchases I've made that are really worth it.
Very true. And you've talked a lot about how having a family and having almost the less disposable income allows you to kind of evade the dopamine hit of buying junk.
Yeah, I've just learned to stay off Amazon. I don't need to be perusing around for Amazon.
I
There's
have gotten a puzzle so that I can do the puzzle instead of shopping online when listening to Amazon. Like
it's
when
too
listening to
funny.
my audiobooks. Well, because like I like to like do something while listening to the audiobook, so I'm gonna do this puzzle now.
Fair enough. That's funny.
Stopping is everybody has their weaknesses, okay?
Fair enough. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that for this week. I probably could be rambling on and on and on about this stuff, but I think we
Uh,
made our points.
Good luck everybody with their spring cleaning. I do recommend Marie
Yes,
Kondo's
spring
book.
cleaning. Just do it.
No,
Just toss it out. That thing that it's been sitting there that's collecting dust, just toss it out. You don't need it.
I'm just gonna start throwing away everything I own at some point. I sorted through my closet and I got rid of like a whole I have a box of stuff to put in recycling and a box of stuff to give away. And I probably have more things that I want to get rid of, but like just I I have, my like hoarder anxiety about getting rid of too much. Good luck everybody.
All right.
Have nice discussions.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Take care. Bye.